So I decided to go ahead and attempt this 4-mile walk that I do. And I was cruising along. Everything was going fine. I was going to make it easy. I wasn't going very fast. I don't walk that fast anyway. But, it isn't like, I'm looking like I'm walking around the track at Century Village. So about 2.5 miles into it, and I kind of know all the measuring points, right? Because you're thinking, okay, geez, I got like another 1.6 miles to go. Now it's 1.5. I measured this out in my car with my archaic methods. I don't wear one of those watches or anything. I don't need to know my sperm count while I'm working out. I just don't need to know that. Oh, what was that? Lubie 0.0. Yeah,
I was going to say, you still have it confused.
Big, fat, round number. You can throw that right there on the board. What chance do you have here of agreeing with Ron DeSantis on his gun?
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
On a little bit of a soggy starting Friday here in South Florida. Good morning, everybody. On South Florida Live, Jeff DeForest and Mike Lubitz bringing you a Degenerate Friday edition of the Defo Show. Already at the end of the week, and this is my Degenerate Day because I immediately start making plans as soon as I wake up in the morning to figure out how I can get all of the necessary things done that I have to, so that at 1 o'clock after the Mike Mayo Lunchbox Show that also airs here in South Florida Live, and for the time being, WWNN radio in South Florida, Odyssey Radio app. I tell you, those radio management meetings, no matter how favorable they are, I mean, somehow you walk out of the room there thinking, wow, did I just get fucked?
You know, stay in your head.
Right?
Like they literally told us we were being syndicated, which is a good thing, and we walked out going, huh?
I will never forget the day you had Paul and Young Ron, a very famous and long-running show here on the FM dial, Big 105, and these guys have been together about like 20, 25 years. Paul Castronovo, very well-renowned and respected radio host. One of the guys, I mean, with longevity that is very, very impressive. You see how difficult it can be. I mean, for us to have had a near 12-year run at WINZ 940, under the circumstances, especially with like no contractual agreements, nothing. Basically on a whim and a prayer where we had this thing going. The deal was made on a napkin with a guy who was only there for 3 days after that deal was consummated, and then other people get involved. To last 12 years under those circumstances, what was probably the most amazing longevity feat. Certainly it was. I mean, it was the longest run I had at any single place in my career, and I worked a lot of different places, usually under favorable circumstances. But yeah, I mean, it hit me when Ron got canned. They decided, they never blame the program director or management. It's always got to be the sidekick, which is amazing too that you lasted so long, because you don't know. I'm sure you've heard it about me. Well, you know what? If you could get rid of Defo and get a real talent in there, you might have a chance at a career, Michael. And, consequently, unfortunately, many times people have said to me, hey, well, geez, I don't know about Lubie. The last guy we were dealing with, that was his big theory, right? Every conversation began with that. What are we going to do about Lubie? I said, we're not going to do anything about the guy. The guy's making it real easy for me to do this job.
What are you talking about? I don't like my voice sucks, but other than that, like, what do you? I don't.
Your voice is fine. You don't understand this. It's okay to have a character voice. You just maybe as Leslie Visser has told you many times, it just sort of refine the use of it, and it can be very effective. But who was the guy that was with JT the Brick, and he actually became like a very popular figure on his own?
Tom Looney.
Looney, man, he had a voice that was way out of bounds by comparison to yours, right? I mean, the guy sounded like a shrieking madman, but nonetheless,
I liked it.
Chris Russo, another. I mean, when
Russo.
Chris Russo started that show on WFAN and was doing the introduction, and he did a, you're like, what the fuck? That's radio?
My favorite is your guy that was your buddy. What the hell's his name? The one that used to do late nights, overnights, Vegas, the Degenerate. Reformed Degenerate. What the hell's his name with the crazy ass voice?
I don't know.
Pharrell.
Oh, Pharrell. Yeah. Oh, no.
Pharrell's the best.
Pharrell was great.
Sing half the time, but
Pharrell had a lot to say. See, that's the important thing. A voice, a good voice or bad voice. If you have something to say, and you have a way of delivering it. I mean, you talk about the ultimate degenerate. I mean, he should be wildly successful today. Scott Pharrell.
I think he's moved on.
I mean, with the gambling, and he was doing that angle long before it was popular, as were we, and that's why we're very proud to roll out another edition of Degenerate Friday, which it starts out very poorly for me because I've already got my coverage up of the U.S. Open, and ruin is the key word.
Oh, Jesus.
Remember, I took a flyer. You will never see me anyway in a pair of like clog shoes. Or you may never see me eating like one of those hard pretzels again that come from Penn Dutch. In fact, I wouldn't even consider going on a Dutch date if the woman offered to pay, because anything Dutch right now is mud to me. I mean, just absolutely the worst thing that you could mention. I took this Dutchman, man. I will continue to smoke pot, but outside of that, I want nothing to do with anything that's related to Dutch in any fashion, because the guy ruined me. Ruined me in the pool. I could have taken Dustin Johnson, but I had to think about the blood money and the Saudis. I mean, don't let emotion get in the way of a winning wager. Never let that be a factor. If you hated the Boston Celtics, you still, if you thought Golden State, rather, if you hated Golden State, you still had to bet them if you thought they were going to win the series, correct? And did you not nail that, Lubie? Golden State in 6?
Yep.
You did.
I said it the whole time. I even said once they were down 2-1, I'm like, they're going to win tonight and they win the next 2. They're not losing another to this team. Finally, it's funny, and I'm sure we'll get back to degeneracy, but last night was the first game that looked like what I thought the series would look like. Last night was the first game.
I'm not sure about that, man. I mean, I tuned in. The Celtics are up 12, and I went to get like a bagel and cream cheese and came back down, and they were down 20.
Yes.
Yes. A series of bricks, the likes of which, once again, I mean, you could have rebuilt the old Boston Garden with this thing. It was just absolutely bad. But no, the golf thing, naturally, it was a very compelling interest to me, and I'm watching it right now. And I have to say, the U.S. Open, routinely, I mean, just under normal circumstances, all the courses that they pick, they trick them up to the point where it's almost impossible. I mean, we've seen any number of just really legitimate complaints about conditions that are laid out for the U.S. Open. Now, they happen to have very favorable weather conditions. It looks to me like, I don't know, it looks like a very, very mild breeze, if anything, just enough to keep people a little cool. It wasn't stifling, scorching heat yesterday in Boston. It was in other parts of the country. Remember, Brett Tesser told us it was going to be 100 degrees in Wisconsin?
Yep.
Where it was like 48 at night and then 100 during the day.
Exactly.
That'll get your whole body chemistry messed up and confused. But I believe it was in like the 80s. It was slightly overcast yesterday. So, they had good conditions. And by U.S. Open standards, the scoring was very, very good. By the way, too, I was wrong about that Zalatoris guy. Remember, he had his first shot into the stands. I mean, it looked like the Bucky Dent home run. I mean, first shot way right and into the grandstand seats that lined. They don't even line like the fairway on that hole. I don't know if he teed off on 1 or 10. I want to say 1. And I mean, this ball is so far out of bounds. You're figuring he's taking a 7 on that hole. But that's one good thing about, as great as the pros are and navigating their way out of trouble, which it's amazing, the troubleshooting that they do in the pro golf game. You can't even conceive of it. You might hit a lucky shot out of some thatch one time, and it skims its way to the green, and then as it's about to go 100 feet past the pin, it hits the pin, pops up in the air, and goes in. Okay, that happens.
It's luck, whatever.
But it's not by design. And that's just pure, unadulterated, raw, and, uncompromised luck. With the pros, though, I mean, how they get out of these spots and make even bogey on certain holes is incredible. But they do get the advantage if the ball goes in the stands. Now you're dropping and hitting 3, but you're not in an unfavorable position like you would be if you were behind like 16 trees. Okay. So he got out of it. He ended up being in the mix there at 1 under, or as we say, -1, in a field where -4 was the lead score, and that was by a guy that you're not expecting to be there in the end. This guy, Hadwin from Canada, who wasn't even. I don't even think he was on our list of people to play.
I've never heard that name. I've never heard that name.
Yeah, I don't know much about the guy, I have to say. And
never.
I do follow the sport. So, and there were a lot of guys on the leaderboard that, after day one that you'd say, hey, Never heard of this guy. So, what are the chances that he's able to sustain this across 4 rounds and stave off all of the heavyweights of the game that are in the tournament? But a fatal mistake by me in the golf pool. I had a couple of guys. I had McIlroy, and he's 3 under, so he's right there, 1 stroke off the lead, and tied with a few others at 3 under, and playing very steady, and just a continuation of what we've seen from McIlroy in recent weeks. He is really in form. As is Justin Thomas. He's in the mix there. Spieth was having a really lousy round. I think he bounced back a little bit to be like +1, +2. But if you're like more than +3, any of your guys in this 7-man golf team, sort of fantasy golf team that you put together in a golf pool, if you're more than +3 with any of your guys, you're probably done. So I take this guy Van Ruin because remember I described him like a tall, skinny Dutch version of Heinrich Stenson, the big Swede. Anybody know who Heinrich? Of course.
Yes.
Everybody, you've seen this guy. He used to always be in contention until I started betting him, and then he was just an absolute piece of garbage.
I was going to say, didn't he used to be
here's the big Swede. Oh, I tell you what, he's really struggling with the big stick today. It's like, fuck you, big Swede. Get that putter online. So, I mean, and I'm living and dying with every shot yesterday. Now, I found myself screaming, shank it, every time one of the Live Tour guys got up there, including Phil, who distinguished himself with like a +8. It looks like a disheveled shell of his former self with $200 million in his pocket, right? Can money buy you happiness, Lubie? Can it buy you love and self-respect?
You say this. I was talking to my nephew the other day. He's 7, and he was saying something about money, and I was like, look, money doesn't make you happy, but it makes life easier, Liam.
I mean, navigating happiness when you have a ton of cash versus being broke.
It makes, at least from my
experience. I'm sorry, but zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Let me go to the bank and make an ATM withdrawal and go to the track and play. Come on, man. I mean, when you don't have to worry about this stuff, it's one less thing to, sit there and get all verklempt about. It really is. Well, I'm not going to have any money after this golf pool, and it was like 12 grand in the pool. So 6 times to the winner. Can you imagine? That would have been a nice score.
Oh, Dave.
Tony Finau, okay. I think he was like +2 or +3.
Did you end up going with Rory? Because you talked a lot about
I took McIlroy. Yeah, no, McIlroy, he was in such good form in that Canadian tournament. Now, you do have a bounce factor in golf, and you'll see a guy have a great tournament, maybe even a series of great tournaments, and then all of a sudden, Kaputski, right?
Yeah.
Like this guy, Victor Hovland, who I liked in the beginning of the year. Hovland was on fire, and it looked like he was going to be a contender all year long, and he looked like he had finally made his mark and was ready to get to that plateau of being mentioned in the same names of likely contenders as you would normally get, right? Who do people name? They name McIlroy. Does Ricky Fowler even play anymore? I mean, is Ricky Fowler still in golf? He better take this money from the Saudis. I'll tell you what. Now, there's a guy that you can almost justify, right? He's only made himself a couple of $100 million while he's on the tour, even though, what has he won? Like 1 tournament, Ricky Fowler?
He's never won I think he's won multiple tournaments. He's never won a major.
Yeah, he's won a few. Yeah, I mean, I'm kidding about that. But, I mean, certainly didn't fulfill the potential and, match up to the star sizzle power that he actually had because of what? Yeah. Because of a flat-brimmed hat.
Yep, he was a young dude.
A flat-brimmed orange hat, a pair of orange pants. I mean, dressed like Dolphin Denny.
That's actually true.
And you so stand out on the golf tour that every advertiser wants to gravitate towards you, even if you haven't shot under par in 3 months. It's amazing. No, golf is really screwed up in the way that, things kind of shake out, right? I mean, imagine this. They screwed Craig Stadler out of a golf tournament win. Craig Stadler, the Walrus, a very popular player who was rotund by golf standards, but actually wasn't all that fat. And because he didn't own another pair of pants that fit, he had to put a towel under his knee when he was lying under a tree and wasn't able to stand, up erect, so to speak, to hit this shot. And so he put a towel down because he didn't want to ruin his only good pair of brown pants. Right? He was going to have to come back and wear these pants on Sunday. Yeah, these are my lucky pants. Meanwhile, he only has 1 pair that fits because he's fat. And you can't get those golf slacks in any other size. But, just rail thin. Every golfer looks the same, right? You've been to golf tournaments with me, Lubie. Have you not? Did we not cover a couple? Where did we go? Did we go to Doral and do a show there?
Before our friend ruined it. The last year was Doral we went. And you're not wrong. It was like
everybody looks the same, a carbon copy, one guy after another. They have the same tan. I mean, it looks like they all went to the same tanning salon and stayed in the tub there for like an hour. precisely until their skin was exactly the same pigmentation and color. Unbelievable. And, I have a carbon copy. But so if you're slightly different, right, you always are going to garner attention. And especially in a stiff, kind of stifled, world of, lacking personality like the PGA Tour. That's why Mickelson is kind of fun. He seemed like a real guy, right? Seemed to have, his flaws, whatever. People like Duval when he was going to maybe take down Tiger, maybe because they didn't like having Tiger up there. You think that was, white supremacist America speaking? Hey, we don't want this Asian black guy dominating our game, right? This is country club stuff. The course, by the way, at Brookline, I know our good friend Jim Sarney, he said, I don't know if he said he played there or he grew up like around the corner from there.
Yeah, he's from that area, I think.
That's his turf, man. And the Sarneys were big there. They were well known in industry. So I don't know. Did he have a country club membership at Brookline? Because no average golfer could play this course. Get them out of here. Are you kidding me?
That's my favorite.
There are members that play this course. What do they shoot? 200?
Exactly.
You can't be slightly offline or inaccurate with any shot without just not even getting into slight trouble. Oh, it's a shame. Tough Wind has guided his ball slightly offline, and he'll have to hit out of the rough with his second shot here. But I believe he's going to go with a 9-iron. None of that English tripe crap. And I do love that they describe the conditions in terms of disease, right? Well, the wind is benign today. Really? Well, was it ever malignant? I mean, what the?
Exactly. What the am I supposed to do with that?
Listen, you English twit.
Yes.
I don't care if you're Ben Wright. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Oh, my God.
Who was the famous English golf announcer now? And that's bad that I'm blanking on that because I always used to mention this guy's name. And I don't know if he's still around, but he kind of made the game fun, although everything was like a Shakespearean comedy or tragedy to this guy. And it's a pity. His ball has found itself into a watery grave. And you're like, what are you talking about, man? The guy shanked one into the lake. He's a pro on top of that. This doesn't happen to these guys, man. And they don't hit like some banana slice into the middle. I mean, we used to call it dead center lake. You would see the ball drop in there. Guy would be looking off the tee like he was Arnie Palmer. Hey, where'd that one go? And you go, and there it is. Dead center lake, my friends. That was the designation. But, I mean, if you're slightly off on his course, and again, baffling, just scientific, magical amazement at how these guys get out of these jackpots that they get in, where, I mean, you do need a set of Black & Decker tools to navigate this course. It wouldn't be, I mean, out of bounds, so to speak, if you'll pardon the pun there. Did we really need to say pardon the pun? No, because everybody knows that you just, said something that you probably wish you could have taken back because it sounds stupid. Right? But we shouldn't be apologizing for the puns. Everybody should be attacking you, saying, what the fuck was that, Defo? We're getting too close to the truth here. But, wow, I mean, if you had, like, just a driver, and then what else you need? Like a sandwich and a putter, and everything else would be a tool. A power drill, an electric saw, a chainsaw, a hatchet, whatever it is that you needed to get around this course. Almost impossible. All right. I mean, and around the greens there, especially treacherous. Now, what was the year was it? Was that the year that Payne Stewart won the thing when John Daly was crying? Oh, was that that wasn't at Brookline, was it? Where I remember they were complaining about the greens. The greens were so wickedly fast that a guy literally would be like with an uphill putt. He would barely tap the ball and it would roll off the other side of the green and into a sand trap and maybe even into a lagoon, thus finding its way into a watery grave.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's how this course looks like it's set up. And yet you had any number of guys under par, a lot of guys hovering around, even par, 1 over, 2 over. So the field is very compactly grouped, and it's wide open once again, except for my Dutchman, man. And I don't know this guy's first name. Tall guy, looks like the big Swede. Dutch, I believe, I want to say he has like a Raleigh Fingers handlebar mustache. Now, how could you bet on a guy like this? He looks like a complete fraud. But just sort of resent. I don't really resent anything. I mean, what do I care if Phil takes $200 million and disgraces himself? And is it really that? I don't know. Who am I to judge what another man wants to do here, Lubie? Would I be tempted to take this money? Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't at least entertain the idea?
Yeah.
Well, I guess some people wouldn't. I mean, there are some people that immediately would have said, "Hey, wait a minute, Saudis, 9/11. Sorry, got to take a passeroo on that one." Right?
I don't know. Well, no. If you again, the people that said no, there's no reason for them to say yes. They already have plenty of money, and all it's going to do is hurt their reputation. For those people, it made no sense. But for most people, you're at least going, huh? That's
right. I mean, if you're number 170 on the tour, your car is about to go into the shredder. You're going to be playing on the Knott's Berry Farm tour, or whatever the hell that is, where they're playing like miniature golf. And instead of going out there and the winning paycheck, well, on the live tour, the last place check is like $120,000.
Yeah, everyone gets paid
3 times like what Johnny Miller made for winning the Inverrary Classic many years ago. With Jackie Gleason putting up the purse. Gleason, he had a lot of money. Honeymooners, big hit.
Yes.
What do you think they made on that show? Reruns are still relevant today. Unbelievable. Yep. Some of the best comedy on TV. So we didn't see any real hostility. I checked out a bunch of I watched a few different sources, because they moved this tournament coverage around. It's on Peacock right now, which is some kind of NBC Plus streaming type of service. And great. I mean, they don't usually have like the first guys teeing off. You never see that in coverage of a golf tournament. Sometimes maybe, I guess, during a week, does Golf Channel start right out, like when they do like the Westchester Classic on Thursday, and they have the rights. So they start right out with the first guy off the first tee. Not usually, right? I mean, what is Golf in America doing on at 6:45, 7 o'clock in the morning? Lubie. So that's good. But each time they had to introduce, the fact that they were there. So they moved it from like about 9:30. They moved it to USA Network, which obviously is some kind of NBC affiliate. Yep. And then later on, it went to NBC itself, and then back to Peacock. And then over to ESPN and TNT, and the next thing you know, Ernie Johnson and Barkley were saying, "Can you believe this, Phil?" That was it. But the end result was that they had to kind of intro the tournament about 3 different times with different sets of announcers. That was what I was trying to get to, Libby. And sure enough, I mean, you wanted to see how did they handle this whole live tour thing. And Justin Leonard, he kind of gave it a free pass, Well, we'll see in the long run if it's good for the game of golf. That's all right, Charles Corral. What the hell was that, man? Come on, Justin. Of course, you're going to side with all of the golfers there, and be very reluctant to condemn what many people feel was a schmank move by, especially, he seems to be the target of most of the wrath, Phil Mickelson, who obviously was a guy. Dustin Johnson didn't need the money. And that's why I'm particularly pissed off at all Dutch people today, because this Van Rooyen shot 8 over, and I only took him because I was taking a stand against the live golfers.
I told you, I could see. I don't know.
You said DJ. You said it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I should have listened to you, Lubie.
Yeah, I mean, that's rare. I don't know what DeChambeau did, but those were the 2 guys.
He was okay. Like, he was +1.
They're going to do something here. Like, they're young enough and they're bitter enough at everyone for being mad at them, and they're not delusional, but
they're laughing all the way to the bank.
They're not self-aware. What I'm saying is they're not self-aware enough to realize that they're the bad people. They think it's their choice to make money, and it is. But in life, there's consequences for your actions.
What is? Yeah, go ahead.
No, and they're the 2 guys that are like, screw you. I'm allowed to do what I want. Okay, so they're gonna go out there and do something just to prove everyone wrong. They're
still good golfers. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Phil was finished. I mean, he looks to be washed up.
He's done. He looks bad.
He may be able to regain his form. Let's face it. He's been doing this his whole life. I mean, can you totally lose your? Yes, you can.
I was going to let you answer that.
You're looking at the living proof that you can totally lose all ability. I mean,
shut up.
I think sometimes when I'm staggering home on the walk of life there, I'm doing my little 4-mile thing every day, and it's getting a slower and slower pace as more debilitating things are happening. Finally catching up with me for years of playing ball on concrete. See, I don't know that you had that syndrome, Louie. You were lucky. You grew up in Florida. You were playing on grass fields. It was fantastic.
Oh, football, yeah. Yeah. Well, no, we played in the streets for the most part. I did a lot of
But you didn't run into a parked car, while you were going
No.
out for a button hook,
No, we had open area.
or the guy's waving you deep and deep and deep, and it's only because there's oncoming traffic coming that you're too far away to hear anybody's warning that, hey, watch out for the car. Sliding on cement, man, that took balls. It really did. That was like almost a fraternity hazing party where, to become accepted as a man on the streets there playing punch ball, every now and then you had to slide into a base on cement. Well, it wasn't the most, who thought of this?
I never did that.
What thug came up with the idea that this would be cool to do, right?
Yeah, I can't fathom that.
But we were so into the game, and being safe, and the fact that, all of a sudden everybody thought they were Lou Brock or whatever. And the weird thing is, when you were running to second base, because, this was a very, very, sort of, what would it be, an oblong rectangle where, the sidewalk was only so wide that you were playing on. And then the outfield was right by second base, essentially. So if you hit one into, what we called the gap there, and, you normally would be running for a double, the outfielder just happened to be standing on second base when he picked up the ball. Now you were forced to slide.
Oh, gosh.
And, the first head-first slide was done by whom there, Lubie? Do we know? Was it Pete Rose? I don't know.
Together.
In baseball, who was the first guy to do a head-first dive into a bag? That'd be an interesting thing to check out. And how far back does it go? Because my early recollection of it is that it was Pete Rose. Was anybody diving? Was anybody diving head-first before Pete? No?
Until Pete Rose started sliding or diving into bases at first, almost every ball player slid feet first. Maury Wells, Lou Brock, Willie Mays, and all the other bases.
Oh, they all slid feet first, yeah. They had that pop-up slide, where ball would go through into center field, and, and that was always a cool thing to be able to do, although most people would, just break their ankles trying it. The pop-up slide, were you any good at that?
No, I never even tried that. I would have killed myself.
Yeah. Try that on cement, my friend.
Yeah, you people are crazy.
Anyway, I don't know how we got into that. That was like crazy stuff. But this whole thing with the U.S. Open, I just had. I don't harbor any resentment towards these guys. I mean, they did what they did, and you have to live with yourself. That's what it's all about. Right? I mean, I've certainly had my share of indiscretions and questionable decisions, and I'm sure everybody has. Where your intention wasn't to hurt anybody or to offend anybody, but unfortunately, you did, and maybe you learned from that. I don't know. What are you going to learn if you're Dustin Johnson and they just gave you $120 million in a lump sum? My favorite way to receive cash, lump sum.
Yes.
Thanks, Ma.
God.
I think we'd be on the streets about that. No, but lump sum helps you out. It really does. I mean, blow off all of your debt, everything. I don't know what kind of money, these guys are into. My son happens to be doing taxes now for various celebrities and athletes. Okay.
Nice.
Through the firm that he works for, he has, inherited, I guess, the accounts of several people that are in entertainment and sports. And the money they make, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's beyond the scope of your wildest imagination, because some of these guys are very smart with investments, others not so much, right? You think Chris Washburn still had a lot of his money left after he was drafted number 3 overall by the NBA? Nah, he would have been an easy mark. And you had that, Tank Black. Remember that guy was taking everybody's money, the agent?
Yep.
So I would imagine, yeah. And we were just talking, I was talking about it with Jesse. You saw this story about Delonte West. Did we mention this on the show?
I mean, that was a while ago.
He was homeless, and then Mark Cuban resurrected his life. He said, "Hey, wait a minute, man. We can't let this NBA brother of ours just go through this." So he put him in rehab. He got him cleaned up, and the guy apparently was on some kind of comeback trail, and then relapsed into this depravity again, and was seen the other day panhandling on the highway or something. Which you're thinking, wow, I mean, how many millions of dollars did Delonte West make? Maybe the salaries weren't quite that I mean, it hadn't escalated to these proportions now like they are. And I mean, even look at these football signings are insane, aren't they? Minka Fitzpatrick is like an $18 million a year safety now in the NFL. So you always wonder, how could these guys need more money or end up broke?
Yes. That's the first question usually when you hear a story like this.
Mike Tyson, that was an easy one to figure out. It really was. Yeah.
The women and Don King was his problem.
Don's deals, I am sure, were not necessarily always favorable to the client.
That's an understatement.
You know what was great was that Don King would sit down at the piano in his house there as he was trying to recruit a guy to sign a contract with him, promotional contract. You know, when he was like maybe, I don't want to say stealing somebody else's clients, but, you know, all of a sudden the Klitschko's are there and they're listening to Don King play, you know, Swanee River on the piano, right? So, you know, and he implied like he was playing, but then it turned out, I don't know what he did one day. He like spaced out and he answered the phone and the song was still playing.
It was one of those sub-playing pianos.
As Don's trying to charm the pants off a couple of guys. He could be very convincing, Don King, no doubt about it. Man, I mean, imagine a guy with this background becomes as popular of an American figure as he was, Don King. But I guess, you know, the answer to that question is ask Larry Holmes. My buddy had a dealing with Don King, my friend who I often mention on the show, Albert Davila, and this is how it worked. Okay, so King, as a fighter that's in a championship fight against my friend who was on his like third try for the title, was already up there, you know, getting much closer to retirement than he was to his prime. Still good though, right? So King comes into the ring with this kid, Kiko Behinas, who was a red hot, you know, guy in Los Angeles, and he's waving the flag and everything, and he's in the corner there, and he's all smiles. So Albert ends up winning the fight. He knocks the guy out in the 12th round, and next scene you see is King over with Albert with the flags, who had no affiliation with Don King until that moment when a clause kicked in the contract that he signed that his next 3 fights will be under the promotional banner of one Don King. If you win, you win, and if you lose, you still win. Right out of Raging Bull. I mean, that was very true about the boxing game throughout. All right, so I don't know what's going to happen in this U.S. Open, except I'm out of it with this Van Ruin. Dustin Johnson shoots 2 under. Kevin Na was up there for a while. He was like 3 under through 5 holes, ended up 5 over par. So this is a tournament that can turn in an instant.
Yep.
An instant, Lubie. Like these runs in the Boston Celtics Golden State series, where Boston's up 12, and you literally go and fart in the bathroom and come back out. Nobody would do that if they were watching a game. Bad example. Whatever it was that you did, you went to answer the doorbell. Nobody was there. Okay, yeah, it was the win, and you come back in, and all of a sudden they're down 20.
Yeah,
which was insane. All right, Steph Curry, was that like the easiest MVP? Not in terms of the voting, but I mean, before the series, there were only 2 guys that could win the MVP. It was going to be Steph Curry or Jason Tatum. Yeah. And you're thinking to yourself, all right, whoever wins the series, that guy's going to be the MVP. Now, Curry was a very deserving MVP and a clear-cut MVP.
Yep.
You didn't need to see Melvina Lathan's scorecard here to realize that Canelo was going to get the benefit of the doubt. Speaking of, no, King had nothing to do with that, man. He's kind of been laying low. Promoted a show a couple of weeks ago, actually. Still active. Can you believe this? No one's seen him for years?
Yeah, he's in his 80s.
Last few times I saw him, and this was years ago, I did a couple of fights, and one involved a Don King promotion at what is now the FTX Center. Okay.
Oh, AAA. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. The ring announcer was Mike DePasquale of Channel 7. I remember that. Nice. It was a horrible card, and highlighted by a very dull heavyweight title elimination bout that featured a guy who was in his 40s who had no business fighting anybody who held any share of the title anytime soon. But somehow King worked his way, surprisingly, in a WBC matchup into a mandatory fight. And no, it was it was kind of crazy because he seemed sort of delusional then. And this is years ago, Lubie. I mean, I want to say 12, 15 years ago. It was before I knew you, I believe.
I was going to say we had him at the Teak, but even that was like
he was good there. That time he was good. He still had it.
That was like 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago? All right.
9 years ago. Yeah, I remember I was in a different life at that point. So, and she was there. So, that our things by that. It was 8 to 10 years ago.
I shouldn't mention this if Shirley views the show, but that incident in the driveway there at the Ocean Manor Hotel involving you in the station wagon and that chick. You did surprise me, man, but you have that kind of energy. It's good. I mean, I would want to keep that going throughout my lifetime. All right, many other things happening on the sporting scene, though. I didn't see the hostility. It was brushed over. I started talking about the announcers and the way they got into it. Justin Leonard, I don't know. He sort of made a face, but at the same time, he gave all the golfers a free pass and said, let's just have a great tournament.
Well, he would have been one of those guys taking the money. Like,
of course. He had that look, too, right? And he didn't need the money.
Damn it.
Weren't his parents like filthy rich? Justin Leonard?
Remember, he was good early on. Remember, he was a guy that early on was like supposed to compete with Tiger. He was a young phenom for like a year or two. And then
he was good. He had a good career. Yeah.
But he
as a commentator, I don't know. That was a lame answer, I thought. All right, and of course, the guy that's in the host role here, if it was me, I naturally would just quickly accept it and go, some strong thoughts there from Justin Leonard.
So to take it out the Tiger. That ain't.
Tom Rinaldi's got Tiger Woods. Tom, what do you got? Yeah. Oh, Tiger. All right, and so then they pass it along to another pair of announcers who, Tirico got into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Didn't really express an opinion. I mean, obviously, he's going to take a very neutral position on this because he doesn't know, right? Or his bread's going to be buttered next. Maybe he wants some of that Saudi money. The Saudis get Tirico to go on. And it was interesting, too, because what do they call the headwear for people from Saudi Arabia and the Middle East? What is that thing called? I don't even know. But anyway, remember DeChambeau? We always used to make fun of him because the stupid hat that he wore, the Ben Hogan hat. And wasn't he wearing knickers also, DeChambeau, at one point in time, like he was paying freaking Stewart himself? He dressed weird, you would have to say. This was before he bulked up. And then the next thing you know, you have the Incredible Hulk coming out there, and he's got a driver in his hands with a shaft that goes from here to the wall.
Hijab. The hijab? You mean hijab?
Hijab, is that it?
Hijab.
Yeah, DeChambeau was wearing one yesterday. So was Phil. It's the first time we've seen Phil without, like, a NASCAR-like shirt on, where every square inch of cotton is covered with a patch representing a company.
He's got
like a blank shirt. He looks like Pete Rose in that sneaker commercial. It's like, Phil.
Oh my God.
Really? I didn't mean to get back on that. I can't get away from
the whole like nightgown with the sandals. He's not even wearing golf shoes. He's wearing the sandals with
he's wearing pointy yellow shoes and a fez.
He's like Aladdin.
Like, what are you, man? On your way to Morocco? I mean, what the hell?
It'd be great.
His caddy's got castanets behind him.
Oh my God.
And I had a couple of notes here, Libby. You'll find that surprising. Is this a big deal to you? Miami. Now, what kind of grease? We know what FIFA is all about. The International Bribery Federation.
Yeah.
If they were the IBF, I mean, that would be a perfect designation for them. All right. Sepp Blatter took how much money to put this World Cup, have it delayed by 6 months, a disgrace, because it's so freaking hot in Qatar. And they don't even have like a ballpark yet. Nothing.
By now, I guess they do, but like 10,000 people have died for this World Cup.
This was really, really weird. Left an impression with me, too, about taking the train through the hillsides of Italy. When we, on one occasion, unfortunately, got on the wrong train and went, by route of, some mountainous thing where at some point you had to get off and take a goat to the next station, because they were repairing the track. It was going to take them years. But every town had a little soccer field. Like a tiny sort of soccer stadium. I mean, like every few stops you would see one of these things in Italy.
Yeah.
So it's big worldwide. We know that. I don't know why. I can't explain the phenomenon with soccer. And no matter how many times I try to embrace it, I keep coming back to the same thing. Sorry, Jim Sarney. it's boring as all hell. I mean, it just is. And it's unfair of me to condemn it. I mean, this is just my personal approach. I can watch it, but I wonder why. I really do. I just wonder why
That's the
people.
thing is like hockey doesn't score a lot more, but it
But it's
always
fast
like
paced.
it feels like there's
It's
more
fast
going
paced.
on. Like soccer,
Yeah.
they'll just pass it back and then they'll kick it backwards and then they'll
Yeah.
kick
To the
it forward
goalie
and
who
back.
kicks it back to the same guy.
It's like, and then the guy, oh my god, it's happening! I'm like, what happened?
It's like, who drew up these plays? Tony Sperano? What the hell is that, man? You kick it back to the goalie, who then, he looks around for a while. There's nobody near him, nobody within 8 miles of the guy, because the field is like these soccer stadiums. At least they weren't really stadiums, but they're looked like high school soccer fields. It had an announcer's booth and everything, and they were very compact, though. Stands that maybe could fit like 100 people or something. That was it. And it was all kind of on top of itself there. But you know what else I noticed? Nobody was playing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you had access when we were kids growing up, I mean, the move from Brooklyn to Long Island where you actually had fields.
Oh, my God.
My God. I mean, you could have shot Field of Dreams, right there in my childhood. Because that's what it was like. So, you would think that these fields would be, being accessed at all times by somebody, like with guys waiting to play. But that wasn't the case. So what does it mean, Lubie? What does it mean to get World Cup games here? And where is the World Cup championship decided?
Yeah, okay. Oh, this is the 2026 one.
2026, yeah.
It's
Miami is now a host city.
Yeah, I think it's like 5 cities on the eastern seaboard, but I feel like nationwide.
There's like 15 or 20 cities. I don't know altogether. Right?
I don't
16,
know.
I think it was.
I'm sure it's in.
And why was that girl that made the announcement so happy? Was she from Miami?
Maybe
she went berserk, or was she also on the take there to for 10% or whatever? Sepp Blatter. Blatter's out, right? So what criminal is running FIFA now? Have they cleaned it up by some odd, coincidence?
No.
Do you think that FIFA is being run on the level? FIFA.
No. Gianni Infantino. I mean, come on, he's an Italian guy. There's no way.
You're implying that all Italians are mobsters.
Not all, but I'm just saying. Like, I don't think they cleaned it up by getting the Italian guy in. Like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, Blatter's only problem was, I mean, he was so brash about it that eventually he had to get caught, right? I mean, how could he possibly? When that guy from Qatar, the sheik, got up and had the 2 babes with him.
That's the best. Yeah, that's the best.
And, he acted all surprised. What a surprise there, Sepp. Really pull that rabbit out of your hat, did you not?
The fact that there was like women all around him, it's like, that's a shocker.
And Blatter leaves the podium there with a suitcase, an attaché case, handcuffed to his wrist.
Bentley.
And is whisked away in some very expensive European automobile. Yeah. Oh, to where, too? I mean, what? The Maldives? Where was he going to be on vacation? Turks and Caicos? What bank could he possibly have deposited this sheik's money in? And, not been detected. So, I don't know. I mean, do you think there was an element of bribery involved? Mayor Suarez looked pretty happy.
No, go ahead. You mentioned Mayor Suarez around Billy Corbin.
Yeah. Corbin thinks he's really a token mayor. I mean, a little more than not even a figurehead.
He doesn't think. He's been very clear about his opinion.
Like a bobblehead. He is a good-looking guy. I give him that. And his enthusiasm and exuberance over this announcement.
It's a huge deal for Miami. I mean, if you look at all the cities, it's like 4 northeastern cities and Miami. So, like, if you're anywhere, like Virginia.
Oh, the people come here for this stuff. I mean, look.
Yeah,
if
you're anywhere Virginia down, and even I have to look at the rest of the country, but if you're anywhere Virginia down,
yeah.
And look, those states, as much as we don't understand it down here, like Georgia, North Carolina, randomly these states like have big soccer followings, especially the DC area. It's huge. So like, where are you going to go, up north, or are you going to come down here? So like, it should be a boom. Like, it should be a monster for us in 2026.
The Latin influence, Lubie. Get out of here, man. They're coming. South America. Look, they came for this stupid car race.
Yes.
Which the professor so correctly, and he's coming up here in just a few minutes with the big board, which is very exciting for us here on our Degenerate Friday show. But Yeah, I mean, it came for this car race, which is the dumbest event going. I mean, nothing happens.
Yeah, it's bad.
There are more crashes on the Palmetto every morning than there are in Formula One, as dangerous as it's supposedly and represented to be. Now, these guys also, I mean, this is nothing for them, having driven in Italy.
Yep.
There's no way. I mean, the Andretti's, the Fittipaldis, they couldn't. They had to think of this course as like a joke. Even the tightest of hairpin turns doesn't represent anywhere near the danger that just walking across the street in Rome does.
Yep.
Look both ways, man. And then you never know there. I mean, is it a one-way street? Oh, no, it's two.
Yeah, because it's tiny. So you assume it's only one way, and there's definitely two cars going down the road, yeah.
You look, you see, whoa, wait a minute, man. Cars are coming from the other side. It's nuts. So, I mean, no wonder they always won. But I will say this. I mean, do we owe it all to Joe Robbie? His brilliant insight into thinking that soccer was the game of the future. And the Robbie family that originally built, what was Joe Robbie Stadium. And I don't know, is it fair to say it still is to, a lot of people? Remember Hank Goldberg? That was one of his big campaigns. He refused to, acknowledge any of the, corporate entities that were behind the stadium and using it as a marketing tool, and he would call it the stadium formerly known as Joe Robbie. That was one of Hank's clever campaigns there. I'll give him that one. No?
I look, they ended up changing the name so much that I got off of that, but most of my life we called it Joe Robbie. It's just when you have like 12 name changes, at some point you go back to the last name.
What is it now? Yeah. Oh, it's Hard Rock Stadium.
I don't mind the Hard Rock thing. I actually don't mind. That's easier.
Hard Rock has an image of, hey, let's all go party, I mean,
and I like the Hard Rock, so I don't mind.
Degeneracy, gambling. I mean, naturally, the Hard Rock is, one of those things
for us. Yeah.
You don't mind identifying here, as opposed to Skidmark Park or whatever that was when they were
Pro Player Park,
being sponsored by an underwear company.
And it was like weird. It was like, okay. You guys are just
Marlins with another pathetic walk-off loss, one strike away from winning, give up a 3-run homer in the ninth inning. The Yankees, Anthony Rizzo. Did Rizzo lose a lot of weight? Maybe. Have you seen Anthony Rizzo in a Yankee uniform, man? I mean, he looked like the splendid Splinter, my friend. Anthony Rizzo from Parkland, Florida, who, is very well regarded here in South Florida by everybody because he seems to be a very charitable and not only, dignified, but an individual that's more than willing to go out of his way to make something good happen and cashing in his good fortune and sharing it with others, right?
Yes.
I don't know that you'll see Anthony Rizzo signing up for the Live Tour if he was a golfer. Here's a lefty, Anthony Rizzo.
Probably not. Probably not.
All right, we're going to run because the professor is coming
Ready
up.
to
The
roll.
Yankees, Rizzo hits a walk-off home run. You didn't? Did he not lose a lot of weight? Somebody on our chat line should be able to help me out with that because I remember him being bigger when he was a Cub. No, wasn't he sort of a?
Oh no, I don't remember him being big at all. So then maybe you're remembering.
Okay, maybe I got this wrong.
I remember being in shape. Like we had him on a couple times. He was a South Florida kid. I remember him.
Yeah, a very nice gentleman, and was very gracious when he came on. And I don't know. I mean, he's got like 16 home runs now, including the game winner last night. The Yankees won their 14 straight at Yankee Stadium, swept the Rays. Kevin Cash, wow. I mean, he looked like Bitcoin yesterday as opposed to Cash. I mean, he was just a disheveled, small semblance of a human being after this. Oh, gracious, when he was talking to the people in the postgame show. But that had to be just gut-wrenching, right? You go all the way to the ninth inning, and then Rizzo comes up there, hits a fastball out of the park, and that was it. 14 straight for the Yankees, who are having a phenomenal season. They're already comparing them to the 27 Yankees in the post.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, shut up. Really? Oh, well, the record, the start they've gotten off to is like the freaking Mariners in the early 2000s. It's like insane. It's freaking start.
All right, we're going to bring on a professor. The big board will always be of great intrigue to us because when he unveils it, I don't know. Do you have any secret insight?
This time, he doesn't always tell me because he doesn't want me to ruin it because he likes the second
element of surprise.
It usually gets like it takes us a second to read it, and then both of us just laugh at the title. Like, why would I take that away from him? So he usually doesn't tell me. This week, because I helped workshop it a little bit with him, so I sort of have an idea. But he'll throw me for a loop. He always does.
And he challenges us to name 3 guys on Tampa Bay Rosarina. I can name one.
Tampa Bay Lightning, Tampa Bay Rays. Oh Jesus! Yeah, good luck. No idea.
I can name more Lightning players than Tampa Bay Rays players.
I can name Lightning. I can't name.
Yeah, but that's the first time I've watched the Rays all year, and I only did it because it was so boring there. The basketball game after a while, I just kept flipping back and forth. Although probably wasn't. I mean, our man Sheldon G. Wow, you hate to see one of your contemporaries there take one on the chin. I would imagine he's in a position to absorb that, but he had like 50 dimes on the Celtics to win the series, and then a move that you have to respect, Lubie, even though it turned out to be just an act of pure and raw, unadulterated lunacy. He pressed the bet, before Game 6, and took the Celtics at plus 320 to win the series, even though they were down 3-2. Holy Draymond Green, did that turn out to be a big mistake? But obviously, you bet whatever your means are. So this guy's, I don't know what he did. Did he find oil or something?
I don't know. Yeah, he was very weird dude. And even when he gambled, you gambled with him. He wasn't like a lunatic when it came to gambling. And then he moved to Vegas, and now
he's making all these bets at one casino. I mean, he must have a suite upstairs.
Like Brandon Lang.
Does he even need a place to live? Yeah, they probably got him in the presidential suite. All right, we're coming back with the big board, as the professor is going to join us, and he'll have some picks for us as well. Lots of stuff to gamble on over the weekend, and we'll continue in a moment here on the Defo Show. Hialeah Park will be a great place to gamble, and wow, I mean, the Father's Day special there is going to be fantastic. We're going to have to look up on Mike Mayo's lunchbox what that entails. Maybe we'll pick it up.
Ken keeps naming these people. Are they all still there? I couldn't tell you that anyone's still on the race. Evan Longoria hasn't been on the race for years, I don't think. Like, Andy Man is proud that they came up with Evan Longoria. I don't think he's there. I don't think he's been
there. No, he's like in Seattle or something. Yeah, it's been like 5, he could be any further away, Andy. You're way off.
Ken's naming guys that I think are there. Like, I couldn't. Sure. I have no idea.
And he still thinks Joe West is umpire. Exactly. He checked out. No, he didn't check out. He retired. I don't mean to put him in his grave. Hialeah Park. I mean, you'll never feel like you're buried there, even if you lose, because they make you feel like a winner every time you go. And your chances of winning are greatly enhanced, exponentially so, over other casinos, because they actually have this inclination that it's good for the customers to come into a place where they know they have a good shot to win. And that's Hialeah Park. That's why Steve Calabro is one of the leaders in the industry. He says, hey, you know what? We're going to make what we need to make. So we don't have to gouge your eyeballs out. We're not like Exxon. So we want to give everybody a fair shot by the standards, that you would find, say, in Las Vegas, as opposed to some of these other casinos that seem to be regulated by people that really have no respect for the clients whatsoever. No, it's great there at Hialeah Park, and you're going to love the vibe, and the food and drink there, fantastic. Champion Simulcasting Room, great place to punch away. Gurgles, probably see him down there by the Brass Rail Bar. It's close proximity to the Gurgles Digs there in Miami Lakes. So Hialeah Park, nice little crossover. Man, if you haven't been to the Champion Simulcasting Room, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Great poker room, and extremely, I remember thinking this because I used to do a couple of shows out of the poker room. You were with me when I was doing it. You weren't on the site there. But I remember I used to jog down to Hialeah for the 6 to 10 show there on 940. And I always loved it, because once I got there, even though it was a little bit of a schlep for me early in the morning, once I got there, I was like, wow, man, I love this place. I really do. And did a couple from the bar there by the poker room. And I've always noticed it was extremely well run. I mean, very, no, contentious arguments. Hey, wait a minute, I was up next. You don't get that there at Hialeah Park. They really know what they're doing, man, and that makes a big difference. It makes it a lot more fun to play when you're not aggravated before you even get started. So you'll love it. Everything about it, Hialeah Park, great place to play, and great place to have a good time. Clear your social calendar and plan a trip to a beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, Professor, coming up in just a minute here. And the Gambling Gourmet, the birthday boy, going to join us later on in the second hour of the program, Mike Mayo. So we'll come back with the Professor in a moment. Now that.
The time.
7:54.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
The winner to organize the 2022 FIFA World Cup is Qatar.
We now return to the Defo Show right here on 9.
All right, welcome back to the show. A Degenerate Friday here on the Defo Show on South Florida Live. Lubie's new channel, Jeff DeForest, Michael Lubie Lubitz, and the professor joins us right now for what has become the hit segment on our new network. And of course, now gaining steam and popularity all around the world with the professor's big board. And always appropriate to have the professor on a Degenerate Friday because he epitomizes everything that we love about a stone and a self-admitted degenerate. Professor, how are you, my friend?
Better than you, I would imagine.
Oh, this Van Ruin. I mean, really, man.
Oh, I thought you.
I would
thought
you my house with Penn Dutch paints. Forget about going to Penn Dutch meats. Anything Dutch. I want nothing to do with it except hashish at this point.
I thought you would have cried yourself to sleep last night when your Boston Celtics went flaming down. And
I didn't care. I really didn't.
Jason
okay
Tatum got destroyed by Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins. I loved how he did that little entitlement shimmy he does after he made his first shot. Yeah. I went to Duke and I played for Boston, so I think I'm good. And then proceeded to go for like 3 for 22 for the rest of the game. Nice job, Jason. So, yeah, I thought, honestly, between you and your buddy who doubled down on Boston.
Oh, Sheldon G, man. Yeah.
And
wow. That's a lot of money to put up in smoke. I mean, you're a man of means.
About how upset Ben Affleck and Mark Wahlberg were going to be. I would imagine, like I said, you probably cried yourself to sleep or popped some extra happy pills or something last night.
Now, did DJ Khaled go from being like the #1 Heat fan to a Celtics fan? Was he spotted there?
So. If we can disassociate that fat bum from Miami, that would be just perfect.
What is his talent, by the way, and how did he make all of this money and gain all this popularity?
He screams his name over and over again.
He says his name
like his entire time.
Subliminal.
DJ Khaled, we the best. That's like
he could have played. He could have played the sixth man for the Celtics last night for all they got out of that entire game. Although they got off to a good start, and you would have to say,
how'd that work out?
Well, not well because they gave up like 27 straight points after that. But
after Jason Tatum did the entitlement shimmy, Golden State went on a 21-0. How'd that work for you, Duke boy? Just like it did at Duke.
I love his hatred.
Well, you had to be. I mean, how much money did you have on Golden State last night? You must have made a
fortune.
Doesn't
matter. I would be ecstatic regardless. I could have made $0, and I would have been thrilled just to watch Boston and all their fans go down in flames.
If ever there was a bet to be made, though, it would be you, going and taking a strong stand against Boston at any time. Yeah.
Speaking of which, by the way, because we didn't cover it back during the Heat Celtics playoffs.
Yeah.
Clemson cheat and Miami Dolphin Christian Wilkins can take his ass to the Patriots after showing up in the Garden cheering for the Celtics during that series. As far as I'm concerned, you can beat feet with your boy Brian Flores all the way back to Boston. Scumbag.
All right,
You
so
were the
you're
one
not
dancing
inclined to sign up for that credit union he's recommending?
Yeah, you were the one dancing with Dabo after you won the bowl game against Alabama. Just saying, Dabo's family, known child predators. Maybe something we need to investigate, Christian Wilkins. I'm just saying, when you're that close with Dabo, when the other people close with Dabo get arrested for child pornography, I got to wonder if there's a connection there.
There you go.
All right, the professor with a few
I'm tired
deductions
of
here that
saying.
he's made on the program. This is prior to any wagering activity and/or the big board. All right, so who did you end up going with in the golf tournament? And do you have any shot here? Do you have this Lingmerth guy who's negative
No,
three?
I took a bunch of names, and I was kind of hoping for that
Not their
day
Dutchman.
one run by Justin Rose, who got it to -3. I think
Oh,
after
yeah.
13 or 14.
He's 2 under.
Backtracked a shot. Inevitably, it's going to be the Justin Rose plays great for a day or two and then takes 50 putts on day 3 and goes +7. Like, that's like an annual thing in a major. I do have DJ, I think, at like 36
Oh,
to 1,
wow.
something like that. So
he's right there.
pretty excited about that. And then hanging another shot back, Colin Morikawa. Not looking too
Oh,
bad.
yeah. Wow.
Guy, pretty much a regular major bet for me.
I wish I had let you pick my pool team there. That would have been great. I'd have been in first place. Instead, I take this flaming Dutchman. And does he have, I don't know, do you know this guy, Van Ruin? I've seen him a few times. He's been
I don't know like
contention.
3/4 of the field. Come on. I don't know the guy who's in first. I mean.
Oh, Hadwin? No, I never heard of him. There were a lot of, so-called, golf unknowns here. I guess they're known to the golf world, but you got Hadwin, you got Defo. Who the hell is that? Taryn, Lingmerth, Dahmen.
Yeah, again.
I don't know
any
who
of
these
these
guys,
people.
man. I think they were all at my bar mitzvah. But that'll be the only familiarity I might have had with these guys. All right. How are you doing on your wagering besides nailing Golden State, I would imagine, last night to a hefty sum of money? Are you still knocking them out of the park there with your USFL?
Actually, since the whole Shea Patterson thing, we're more like 500, maybe a game or two over, keeping our head above water. Probably going to pass this week because all the playoff spots are now set. And we sort of have like the week 17 in the NFL phenomenon where everybody's going to play their backups. I don't even know who the backups are in the U.S. I don't know.
Are there backups? They don't have backups.
They have backups.
Well, they got Paxton Lynch. He's backing up.
He's not even a starter. Oh, my God.
Paxton Lynch can't start in the
USFL.
I remember when Lee Steinberg he first got back into the agent game, and he came around Radio Row, and nobody wanted to talk to him. They thought he was probably smashed, but he had recovered from his alcohol problem, and very publicly so. So you have to applaud a guy for that. But he seemed to be a loopy. I don't know if you heard any of those interviews, Professor, when we were doing Lee Steinberg, because Lubie would gravitate towards him immediately because like he was an early cinch interview of a recognizable name.
Yep.
And he usually was involved. I mean, he had Tua. He was parading around when he was representing him before that draft. And Paxton Lynch, he had us convinced that Paxton Lynch was really going to be a great quarterback.
Oh, he was
Lee
all
Steinberg. I mean, that's a great job of agentry because he also, I guess, convinced the Broncos of that.
It's also probably indicative that you and Lubie never watched Memphis play because I thought he stunk on ice there. So
you knew he sucked.
I honestly, everything about Paxton Lynch reeked of Brock Osweiler to me. It was honestly, like Brock Osweiler left the NFL, snuck back into college under a different name, and ended up at Memphis under the name Paxton Lynch. I mean, they look like the same dude all along to me. Big arm, super tall. I think they were both like 6'7" and 6'8" or something like that. Unusually athletic for their size, but not like really fluid, and not any good. So,
Osweiler, man, he didn't have that cannon arm, but unfortunately, he was like hitting the face mask of defensive backs and linebackers with it. Yeah.
Again,
very would break their nose, as they attempted to gather it in. All right, so no picks there. Are you wagering on anything coming up?
We got very into the college baseball World Series last week.
Nice. All right.
Or the college baseball regional finals.
You would.
And kicked a little ass, particularly Notre Dame over Tennessee twice. That was pretty sweet. One was like +275 and the other was +310. Wow. Very dislikable team, that Tennessee Volunteers squad of this year. A lot of the nation very happy to see them go down. But yeah, we got some picks in college baseball. So that's where we'll go this week. The College World Series kicks off today, and the first round will be today and tomorrow.
No, Mike Martin's kid got fired now from FSU.
I
Didn't
know
last as
Lubie's
long as
really
Mike Martin,
upset
but
about that.
that was the easiest bet you could make on a college baseball World Series. The complete early whitewashing and 2-game elimination of the number 1 ranked Florida State Seminoles every year with Mike Martin.
Yeah,
that was with Mike Martin Sr.
Yeah.
Junior, they didn't even make it that deep into the playoffs.
No.
I think honestly, it's unbelievable for Florida State baseball, but I think for in 3 years he was something like 12 games over 500 at Florida State, which is just an unimaginably bad number for a program that's been, I don't want to say
where J.D. Drew was a scrub until he was a senior. Yeah.
Exactly. No, I mean I don't want to say historically dominant because they've always been sort of underwhelming in the postseason.
Yeah.
But a legitimate powerhouse for.
Oh, no doubt, man. They had some dynamite teams.
Honestly, the only thing I can compare it to, and this is going to be thrown way back. Remember, when Ray Meyer had DePaul in the Final Four, every other year, and then his kid took over, and they immediately went to being 18 and 16 every year. That's the only thing I can compare it to is the Ray Meyer, Joey Meyer situation, where you installed his kid, and there's no reason for at least say 5 years he shouldn't keep it running on rails, but for some reason it just immediately fell apart.
Yeah, he sucked.
Joey Meyer just didn't look the part, man. I mean, he looked like he should have been in a Chunky commercial or something. Yeah.
Basically, in any sport, that's a disaster waiting to happen, right? When you replace the kid with the father with the kid.
Yes.
I mean, Bobby Knight's kid took over Texas Tech right after he left, and he was horrible.
Yep.
I honestly struggling to think a situation where it's actually worked out, where you've had the legendary coach and you made his kid the next coach, and it worked out well. I'm not sure I can remember a single time that move has actually worked. But teams keep still doing it, which I'll never understand.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that never works either is letting the outgoing coach select the incoming coach. That usually leads to disaster. As what was it? Leonard left UM and brought in Perry Clark, his buddy, and that couldn't have been any worse of a situation. And we saw when Jimmy left, and he brought in Wanstead.
Why would you even let Leonard Hamilton pick his coach in that situation? He left under really kind of bad circumstances. Jordan wanted him to come to the Wizards. Miami wanted him to stay. The Wizards offered him a bunch more money. Why would you let Leonard Hamilton contribute to his successor in that situation?
Respect, my friend. Respect.
Again, why are you respecting the guy who's leaving?
Screw you.
That was the problem. It was misguided respect, but it was respect.
And Lubie, Leonard Hamilton's biggest fan, so we have to apologize.
He hated Hamilton. I mean, there was no more venomous commentary than Lubie. As soon as I nodded in Hamilton's direction, and Lubie knew I was going to say, "Hey, why don't you grab Leonard Hamilton? We were stuck for a guest." Right. So at least I knew Leonard, and had familiarity, especially with his mightiest struggles ever in his career, which were his first couple of years at the University of Miami, where he had Kevin Norris at 5'2" at point guard, hoisting him from 3-point range when he couldn't reach the basket from the free throw line, right? And and that was like a main play, or they would lob it into Constantine Popa. Imagine.
I knew there was a Constantine Popa reference.
He always had Popa. He said it 4 times when we interviewed Hamilton.
We got the wrong Douglas, man. Stevie Douglas or whatever.
We got
who was the kid that went to FSU?
Doug
brother.
Douglas Edwards. We had
Douglas Edwards. Yeah. Stevie Edwards.
Douglas, honestly, who's one of the greatest high school players I've ever seen, really didn't pan out that great on the college. He was a good college player, but he never became the guy people thought he was going to be coming out of high school.
He disappeared into anonymity. No, well, what's he doing?
Steve Edwards was a disaster, though.
Douglas Edwards.
Worse. Doug Edwards at least
Stevie had 6 knee injuries in 4 years between his senior year in high school and his time in Miami. So.
Yeah, he wasn't effective. And they had Steve Frazier also, who was a hell of a recruit by Leonard, who bombed out right away. He injured himself and was never the same.
Meanwhile, Leonard's gone to FSU and put together a very, last year notwithstanding, has put together a very solid program. He's probably arguably FSU's best basketball coach ever, honestly. In terms of, I know
Durham was interesting back in the day. They went to a finals,
The
and
guy was it Norm Sloan that got him to a Final Four? I'm trying to remember. Whoever got him to a Final Four.
Kennedy got
Pat Kennedy didn't get the Final Four.
Hugh Durham got him to a Final Four, and they lost to UCLA. And then Pat Kennedy got him to an Elite Eight and Sweet 16, but Hamilton made them a program.
No, Hamilton, he can recruit players. He really can. Unfortunately, he didn't have a great circumstance here. And he did end up taking the program to some modicum of respectability before, he ended up going with Jordan to the Wizards, and that was it.
Sayonara. That was a great move.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he made a bunch of cash. He ended up at FSU. Plus, he's like 80 years old, this guy, man. He's older than Hubie Brown, and he's still having a favorable impact.
Again, not bad for a guy who started out life as Joe B. Hall's bagman at Kentucky. I mean, everybody, he's got like super respectable.
Lubie asked him about that in the interview.
And he's got like super respectable, and everybody forgets he's the guy who got caught like stuffing $20,000 in cash into a DHL envelope that got sent to Sean Mills, and that's why Kentucky in like the late 80s got and then went on to an Oklahoma State program with Richard Dumas and Byron Houston, where like the entire team was on massive amounts of cocaine.
Whatever it takes to win. I mean, that would be the approach. Lubie made such an ugly face, though.
Hamilton has gone from like the face of corruption to revered college basketball elder statesman. You don't see that transformation that often.
Well, and he's a friend of the show, or at least he was until you made reference to some indiscretions he may have had in his past. But Lubie, takes a look at me like I'm a madman. That he is going to refuse to approach Leonard Hamilton. Like I had asked him to go and see if Colin Montgomery would do an interview after shooting in '86, which he just wanted nothing to do with this guy. And then Hamilton charmed the pants off him and succeeded then to have a bunch of great years with FSU. And now Lubie loves the guy, loves him, fawns all over him when he comes on the show. You would think that Leonard Hamilton was the basketball answer to Bobby Bouts. It's unbelievable.
When he has been
hated him like poison, man. Didn't even want to talk to the guy. Right, and Leonard really immediately pointed out, Lubie, I've heard some of the things you had to say, and you're an asshole. All right, let's turn our attention.
I say that to Lubie at least once or twice a week. So,
wait, do you have college baseball plays? Do you actually want to give us?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We haven't done that
in
yet.
the big board here.
Going to go to the big board. So.
We have to accommodate the birthday boy, Mike Mayo, also in this hour. All right, so let's fly away with the picks.
All right, we got starting today at 2:00, Oklahoma. Against Texas A&M. Texas A&M playing really super hot in the postseason, and look for that to continue today. And they're actually not even favored. They're getting even money, which they're about the number they were getting at home last week against Louisville. They are technically the home team today, and I would look for that trend to continue. So we're going to start off right in the first game, taking Texas A&M as a pick'em. Another favorite school of Lubie's, Texas A&M with Jimbo.
Love it.
He loves that. Yeah, big fan. All right, is that it? Yeah, more?
Second game today, we got Notre Dame going for Texas. Going against Texas. A lot of people on that Notre Dame bandwagon after they went into Knoxville and took Tennessee last week. I don't look for that to repeat. You go back and look at those games at Tennessee. Notre Dame's bats got freakishly hot. Team that does not really hit home runs. One of the few in this field that's not a big bomber team. Hit 5 home runs in the first 5 innings. Their first game at Tennessee. Don't look for that to continue. Texas does have bullpen problems, but their starting staff is super solid, and they're 3-4, arguably the 2 best players in the country there. So slight favorite, -140, but we will take the Longhorns, -140 in the second game today.
All right, Lubie, I think we'll jump on that opportunity. And I have to say, was that your last pick on the?
No, we got one more on Saturday. That's Ole Miss going to Auburn. Ole Miss laying -130. To the Auburn Tigers. You look at Auburn, they have really good pitching and defense, but they're kind of a one-man lineup. Big fat kid who injured his hamstring against the series against Oregon State. Being a fat guy myself, I know any problems you have to have with the wheels are always going to inhibit you greatly. So I look for the Auburn offense to be a little down this week. And Ole Miss, another team running incredibly hot, particularly their pitching. I think they pitched something like 14 shutout innings, combined 2 7-inning shutouts at the front of that Southern Mississippi series. And honestly, USM's pitching staff's as good as anybody. So if you hit them and Ole Miss did well, you're coming in playing hot. So tomorrow night, take Ole Miss -130 over Auburn.
All right, there you have it. The Professor's College baseball picks.
And
I was
Julie
going to say,
wants me to pick
yeah.
Arkansas over Stanford. I'd love to because I am not a Ferd fan in anything, but they really were not going to cover off the ball in the Super Regionals. I'm just going to leave that game alone. Stanford comes in a slight favorite. I wouldn't play that game one way or the other. In fact, if I had to play somebody to win the tournament, I'd probably chalk Eaton and pick the Cardinal to win it all.
And thus, the Degenerate platform has been elevated and escalated yet to another level.
Yes.
Another new barometer of insanity as the College Baseball World Series.
You've got a guy doubling down. You've got a guy doubling down against Golden State in the NBA Finals, and I'm the one who's crazy.
This was a serious amount of capital, too. I mean, I felt the man's pain.
I know. Guys betting six figures on the Celtics.
Yeah.
In a
I guess it was fine.
Where they're clearly the lesser team.
Yep.
But I'm the one who's not.
Maybe it made a bunch of money.
That move you said you respected. Of course you respected it because you were like, "Ooh, Jason Tatum, I love you so much."
Jason Tatum.
I hope Jason scores 40 tonight so Ben Affleck and I can have a text chat about it.
Hey, babe.
You're about to make me so happy. It's so fun. I know both your mama's sick to me, but I love it.
Oh, yeah, no, she's a big fan of the Professor when he starts talking about Boston sports. All right, let's get to the big board because we have to, kind of, we don't want to flash through it, but, we have to get to it. The big board, Professor's big board for this week on the Degenerate Friday.
Okay, well, we had a couple of different plans about what this was going to be this week, but we had an incident that needs to be talked about, and that is NBA forward Motrezl Harrell. Motrezl Harrell gets arrested with 3 pounds of weed. And initially, they're already talking about him not only facing NBA penalties, but actually doing some prison time because they're talking about charging him with traffic weight in this.
Wow.
And there's all sorts of questions to be asked. And look, there's a bunch of people on Twitter who are actually saying, when you make $10 million a year, 3 pounds is in fact your personal use weight. Now, I have some questions about that because I don't care how much. I don't care if you're Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. 3 pounds for personal use sounds like quite a bit.
It's a little heavy in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
no doubt.
Go get new weed when you're done.
I don't know.
3 ounces, maybe 3 pounds.
Yeah, 3 ounces. I can see like maybe you're having a big party. I get that, but 3 pounds.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. We're talking.
That seems like a lot to me.
Who was it? Nate Newton?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was like 50, but still.
Like, what are you doing with 400 pounds of marijuana, guy? Well, I was just on my way home. We're going to have a little party.
But my question is, if you are NBA dude making $10 million a year, what the hell are you doing carrying 3 pounds of weed yourself?
Yeah, that's true.
Why is that in your car? Why do you not have the guy whose job it is to carry the 3 pounds of weed? And that leads us to this week's big board, which is the big board of athlete entourage roles. Every professional athlete needs in their entourage for just these kind of situations.
Excellent.
So,
definitely.
Good topic. Yeah, no, that's a good sports talk topic right there.
Number 5, your social media guy. Somewhere within the entourage. Look, and brands, I don't care if it's NFL, NBA, baseball, your brand is all about your social media site today. And you got to be the guy who knows what the kids want to see on the social media. Me personally, I have no idea what the hell goes on TikTok. Lubie and his wife are very into TikTok. Lubie's always trying to show me these TikToks. Like, I have no freaking clue what goes on TikTok. I have no idea what 14-year-olds in China want to see on TikTok. But there are people out there, and you need one in your posse. And you need one basically who's going to keep you away from those accounts. Ideally, your social media guy is the guy who has the phone with the accounts on it and has the passwords, so you can't go on Twitter and say something stupid. So you can't go on Instagram and hit on the chick who's going to rat you out to your wife or your girlfriend. So you can't go on TikTok and post something illegal. Post a video where you're dancing and there happens to be an automatic weapon and a cockfight going on in the background. You need the social media guy if you were going to be an athlete in 22. You need the guy who can edit your videos. It's basically what Lubie does for you. Lubie is the social media guy member of the Defo entourage. So Defo doesn't post something stupid.
Yes. Which is a common occurrence.
Right. Defo, whose idea of the big Facebook sensation is the debate on what kind of soup do you like that day. Got Lubie to keep you current on those kind of things.
Yeah.
Lubie is actually your member of this entourage.
Yes.
Yeah, that soup thing got a big response.
There we go. And that takes us to number 4 on the athlete entourage breakdown, the guys you need. And this was introduced to us by Boston's own Tom Brady. You need a fake trainer.
A fake trainer, yes, that's a good one.
You need a guy, an exercise guy who's making up a bunch of bullshit that makes people think he and you know something about exercise and diet that while it doesn't really exist, you know something secret that people want to go, whether it's Tom Brady with muscle pliability, the thing that no other exercise person agree actually exists, whether it's Tom Brady's diet with no strawberries because they have, I don't remember what the hell it was.
Yeah.
Inflammatories or whatever that, who's going to make you drink avocado tequila and eat avocado ice cream and publish all that fake crap. Because really, let's be honest, Tom Brady most likely is like the rest of us. He's sneaking away from Giselle and sucking that chili dogs and Pabst Blue Ribbon and then lying about it and said, oh, no, Giselle, I just had a scoop of avocado ice cream while I did my muscle pliability. Because really, honestly, I'm not trying to discredit his play here, but body-wise, Tom Brady's not exactly the ideal NFL professional athlete.
No,
like when
not
you
the
look
prototype.
at dudes, you're not seeing Tom Brady as a guy who's got a future in pro wrestling like Gronk. I mean, if you're going to take diet and weight advice from one of those two, it would probably be from Gronk. But Gronk doesn't have a fake trainer, so Gronk tries to explain it, and Gronk says it, well, Gronk eat protein and lift weight. And people are like, okay, but that's not a fake secret. You have to have the fake trainer. Brady has a fake trainer. LeBron has several fake trainers. There's all. If you're going to be a brand, you have to have a fake trainer with fake secrets that you will try to sell to the public at some point.
Excellent. All right, so these are two things that must be included in every athlete's entourage.
Yes.
Social media, fake trainer, and up next is?
Number 3, this was specialized by one of my favorite athletes of all time, and that's Allen Iverson there in the middle with his fake cousins. You need fake cousins for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
Number 1, maybe they're related to you, maybe they're not. Regardless, they're your cousins. But number 1, you need the fake cousins because it shows people that you're keeping it real.
Yes.
You haven't forgot where you come from. You haven't become, the bougie money guy who ran away from his family. No, you have to surround yourself with the fake cousins. And number 2, you have to have the fake cousins because when you do something illegal or stupid, everybody's going to blame the fake cousins. They're going to even if they know you did it, they're going to say, well, yeah, it's because it's his family and he just can't get away from his family.
Yeah.
And, the fake cousins are bad. They're not the greatest people in the world. So we can't really blame AI. It's the influence of the cousins. And you can't really hate a guy for not abandoning his family. You got to be loyal to your family. You got to keep it real. And that's why the fake cousins are very influential and important.
No doubt about it. Yeah, I would agree.
You need the fake cousins to make excuse to your girlfriend, to your wife, to the press. You always have to have the fake cousins to blame things on.
That's right.
Frank Lucas, American Gangster, right? Surrounding himself with, actually real cousins. In
Maybe.
the movie.
I mean, they claimed they were his real cousins. We don't know that he was.
He had like 60 of them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All delivering dope. All right, number 3, the fake cousins, part of every essential athlete entourage.
Number 2 is a somewhat but not directly related role, and that is every athlete has to have the pick setter. The guy who's going to set the picks in your entourage. And when you say,
well, where'd you get this picture? How to set and use a screen? Did you write that on
from
there?
the internet somewhere?
Nice.
You have to have the guy who sets picks, not on the basketball court, but in your personal life.
Yes.
You have to have the guy that when the groupie's in your hotel room and your wife comes banging on the door, you have to have the pick setter next door so you can sneak the groupie into his room. And when your wife comes in and says, somebody just saw you bring some bitch up for the bar, say, oh, no, that was for Joe, the pick setter. We brought him up for her.
Bit of a beard, yeah. Rolled at
Yeah,
these
no,
players.
again, beard's another term. But again, this isn't just with women. This is all areas. When you get caught doing something stupid in public and you piss some guy off and he actually wants to fight you, you got to have the pick setter.
Yes.
Charles Oakley, very famous in this role for Michael Jordan, both on and off the court. When Michael Jordan would do something stupid in a bar, Charles Oakley would step right in, and nobody wanted to fight Charles Oakley. So you had the pick setter. You have to have, again, just as important off the court as on the court. You need the pick setter in your life.
Dana White stepping between the two guys at the UFC press conferences, right?
Again, now, ideally for Motrezl Harrell, it would be ideal that he wasn't carrying the weed in the first place. But when he gets caught, he's got to have the pick setter in the car who's going to step up and say, officer, that's my 3 pounds of weed.
Well, he's blaming it on the fact that it was a rental car. And somehow in this rental car, somebody left 3 pounds of weed, and then he was the unfortunate sap that had to
and honestly, if it is a rental car,
car,
that's not that bad an excuse. As defenses go, that's not bad.
I never got that rental car.
Yeah, that I mean, so far that's what I've seen about that story. All right, so the pick center is number 2. What lands at number 1 on the professor's
number
big
1
board?
is related directly to Motrezl Harrell, and we all know the NBA runs on weed. It's not a secret. It's been a long time known thing. Everybody in the NBA is smoking weed, and it makes sense. Like, you're on the road all the time. You're 6'6" and 220 plus pounds. Pretty much not every hotel bed's comfortable, not mentioning I don't care how good a hotel, how good a plane. When you're that size, nothing is comfortable. And that's the reason you need a white guy with a weed card.
Yeah, exactly. That would be an essential, and it could have saved him this embarrassment.
A couple of things here. We know there's several states where you can pretty much at this point buy as much recreational marijuana as you want to. And we know, let's be honest, white people do not get arrested in the United States for marijuana.
True.
I personally know like 3 white guys in Florida who have told the cops, yes, there's weed in the car. One who had more than recreational weight in the car, and the cops sent him on his way because, again, we don't bother to arrest white people for marijuana these days. There's no point in it. So if you are an NBA player, particularly if you're one on your second contract, you got to have the white guy with the weed card in your entourage. Because he could go around carrying a duffel bag full of marijuana. He could go around carrying 30 pounds of marijuana, much less 3 pounds. And nobody's going to give him grief because he's going to show his card and say, oh, yeah, I just got it from this dispensary and that dispensary. This is the reason you have to have a white guy with a weed card in your entourage. And I don't care what race you are, by the way. Tyler Hero needs another white guy with a weed card. Everybody needs a white guy. Dantas Sabonis needs a white guy with a weed card. He probably needs it more than most because when he's carrying the weed, that people are going to be like, oh, this has something to do with the Ukrainian war, doesn't it? We're trying to arrest you for this.
Well, I mean, if he goes back to Russia, right? Is he Ukrainian or Russian?
I think he's actually Lithuanian, but way to ruin the joke.
I mean, Brittany Griner there.
Thanks,
Brittany Griner, if she had a white girl with a weed card, would be playing in the WNBA these days.
There wouldn't be all this international concern and turmoil taking place.
Again, black guy, NBA player gets caught with 3 pounds of weed. They're trying to put him in jail for 20 years. If there had been a white guy with a weed card carrying 3 pounds of weed, they would have been like, enjoy your Friday, sir. We'll see you next time you're driving by the dispensary.
By the way, where you're going to be smoking at, we'll join you.
Yeah,
exactly.
My shift ends at 8. Where's the party?
Location, though, also was working against Harrell because, let's face it, if this happened in San Francisco, I mean, where Lubie and I were asking cops for directions at the Super Bowl that year, and they couldn't talk because they were inhaling a joint.
They were smoking
at the time.
I don't really think this location is that big an influence. You think people in Tennessee aren't smoking weed just because it's not legal?
But I mean, a black guy caught with weed in Tennessee. I mean, it's not the same as when my car reeked of marijuana when I got stopped for speeding in Lauderdale by the Sea.
I'm not sure I agree with that fundamentally. I think even in like Seattle where it's legal or San Francisco where it's legal, if you're a black guy with 3 pounds of marijuana, you're pretty much going to prison. But if you're a white guy with a weed card, they're going to say, "You have a nice day, sir."
Thank you very much for showing us your license and registration without
Right?
any
And
resistance.
honestly,
Exactly.
if you went all the way to get the weed card, the cops are usually going to assume you know more about the marijuana laws than they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're going to
you're
want
like-
to find out where they can get one.
You're like,
Like-
I didn't think it was legal for recreational users to have 5 pounds, but you have a weed card, so you must know more than I do. Have a nice day, sir.
You need some kind of psychiatric verification that there might be a need for you to be smoking this stuff to get the weed card. I know this from experience with the Mustang, who applied for what amounts to the family version of the weed card. And boy, it's amazing. I mean, how easy it is to get a shrink to say that you're crazy.
I think it's not that easy for most people. I think for people who know you and have appeared on this show, it's very, very simple
Oh,
because it's pretty
Louis,
legitimate.
here, Louis.
50 G's, Sheldon
I
G.
feel like,
and he
honestly,
pressed it.
if you went to the counselor and you were like, "Yeah, I won $10,000 on the slots in Atlantic City," and then they invited me back the next week and I went, the script's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, let me write that script for you."
You'll dig this, Professor. This was great the other day. So we get one of those come-ons from Atlantic City to get a free flight and rooms. And it's like a Tuesday through Friday thing with a bunch of Altaconkers from Palm Beach. But, the appeal is, of course, free airfare, no hassle boarding or anything. They put you right on. They transport everything for you. You don't have to do squat. And, I have a nice time, right? And I don't care about the days because I'm going to the Borgata to bet horses anyway. And it doesn't matter to me what trash racetracks are running. I'm going to have myself a good time. So the casino host says, hey, Mustang Sally, of course, we're going to upgrade your rooms because they want her back there desperately to get their 11 dimes
Yeah, get it back.
from our previous visit.
Again,
And, and now this will be our second trip back on that, whole
After that
premise, where she made another subsequent score. So that has them even more fueled with desire to have her return.
yes.
Anyway, so he says, but you'll have to call for the flight separately to confirm, that you're going to be on his plane. And the number that was on the flyer that they sent with this offer goes directly to a gambling counseling line.
The bait switch.
Which you would think, wow, how did this happen? That some anti-gambling group,
That's great.
some Mormon troop
Sounds
put
like a
together a
great
campaign to
strategy by them. Yeah,
hijack
I don't know.
Great move.
their entire possible guest
Sounds
list.
like a fantastic strategy by those people.
Amazing, right?
You called, didn't you?
I mean, it's like degenerate pro-life or whatever they were trying.
I was
to
going to say, it's like the
advocate
abortion.
It's like the abortion bans. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a great idea.
Anyway, we're trying to resurrect that trip, so that'll be a lot of fun. I get up there for the birthday, and that's only a couple of weeks away. Big number, again, being posted on the board. Professor, always a pleasure, my friend. Great job. Valid suggestions for
that was
any
great.
athlete that's assembling an entourage, as opposed to some of the wasteful things that end up happening there, where they surround themselves with all the wrong people. You hit it right on the head once again. Good luck with your baseball selections there, College Baseball World Series, one of the great events that I've ever.
It is. It's very
I sort of went
underrated.
reluctantly the first time I went to cover it because it was going to be 8 days in Omaha, and I
And then
was
you
like,
found there was some racetrack nearby you could go to.
XR Bend was
Yeah,
open
yeah,
at the
yeah.
time, which is
Okay.
Nebraska spelled backwards, which is kind of how my bankroll went when I was there. The great Vic Stoffer, though, who was a friend of mine from Florida, was the race caller there, and we managed to find. I mean, Vic was obviously living in Omaha, at least temporarily, while he was calling the races there, and so he knew where to go. Let's put it that way. We knew where to go. Sonny Hirsch was surprised when he saw what came
The
out of my
only
room.
man who has a hookup at the track
Yes.
is Omaha, Nebraska.
Nebraska.
I think
Fantastic. They had
honestly,
simulcasting.
they ought to put Defo on one of those Survivor Man shows where they drop him in the middle of the ocean.
Naked and Afraid,
Because
Omaha.
somehow they would drop Defo in a raft 1,400 miles away from Tahiti, and he'd know some sandbar where they do crab racing, where he knew the announcer, and he could get a hookup and be like, "Oh yeah, the boat's coming to tow us over.
What do you mean? Everyone I know has been to Italy.
We
No
got
one.
action in the day. We got action in the Daily Double already, so we're fine."
No one's been to any casino in Italy. Dave was like, yeah, of course I found a casino.
That's what I'm saying.
In Venice,
not a
no
thing.
less.
Defoe's better than Defo beats the hell out of that Bear Grylls guy who's got you drinking your own urine and making fricassee
When we
out
snuck
of
into the opera,
wombat.
though, I mean, that was the highlight. That was better than sneaking into the Dodgers-Yankees World Series game with no credential. many years ago in the 70s.
Survivor Man DeForest should
Yes,
be
really is.
definitely be a show. Where can we drop Defo
I don't know
anywhere
why.
in the world?
I tell Lubie this all the time. Act like you belong, and they'll just wave you on through. Right? That's the way it is. That's the way it should be. All right, Professor, always a pleasure. Talk to you again next week, my friend. Thanks for the great job.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, Professor, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God, he's great.
I like the sickness and the level of degeneracy that he had, like in-depth analysis of
he broke it down.
team. I know. I'm a fan of the College Baseball World Series. I really became a fan of it because it is one of those events that if you experience it, you see a whole different level. Kind of like going to a hockey game for the first time, and you've been watching it on TV and saying, I don't know about this. But then you go, and now you kind of can feel the whole thing, when you're watching it on TV a little bit better. Would you say that's true? That experiencing a live game makes you have at least an appreciation for the fact that, wow, that those Colorado Avalanche guys that are checking the Lightning into the boards.
Oh, for hockey.
I mean, the Lightning, they should immediately make a deal and get two of the biggest. There aren't really goons in hockey so much anymore, but there are a few guys. Mm-hmm. Who is that guy? Wilson from the Capitals. That they should. He's injured now, but if they could put him on their playoff roster, they should tonight. Or is that game 2 tonight? Finally, in the hockey series.
Yeah, they don't take 1,000,000 days off in a row.
I agree with people that say that and this, it sounds like you're just pandering to the hockey cult, but it is true. The hockey playoffs have been far more compelling than the basketball playoffs were. If you can get used to the whole abstract nature of the game.
It's not even close. The basketball sucked. I was fine because the team I picked and was rooting for won, but the series sucked. It was these ebbs and flows. It wasn't like these tight games.
All blowouts.
The whole playoffs was like that. You can count on your one hand how many games, not series, games were close in the NBA playoffs.
The Celtics got one in 8, and that was as close as they came after the blowout run that took place from the last couple of minutes of the first quarter when I don't know. I mean, if you're betting big money, though, this is an interesting degenerate proposition question, and one that I wouldn't know because I'm not betting like 10 grand on something, or even 1,000. Right? If I bet like $100 on a horse, I'm like stepping out there. That's for sure. But I mean, if you're betting like 50 and 100 grand on games, is it just that the money is meaningless, or I mean, how could you possibly watch a bludgeoning like took place last night without being absolutely Pat Riley-esque in terms of the sick feeling that you have about losing? Where, a distinguished man like Pat Riley is face down on the gutter of Biscayne Boulevard, whining and screaming like a child. They shouldn't have won. No, but I mean, and you're just watching a bludgeoning, right? Where, I mean, they blitz right by you like Golden State did. Did you fear at any time that Boston was going to come back and win that game? Not impossible. I mean, you're down 15 at halftime.
When they cut it to 8, it was in the third. So there was so much time that I actually did think they were going to, because they had done it nice and methodical. So it looked like they're going to keep going. And then the Warriors like, nah, we're good. And then they just turned right back on.
Yeah. Who was the guy? I mean, was Porter? Who was the guy that? Yeah, that had a couple of threes there. That really the guy never takes a shot.
Yep.
He's in there to just put some pressure on a guy for a few minutes while they rest their starter. That's it.
Yep.
Plays a little D. And he's hitting, and then Steph Curry, he nailed that one from like 60 feet, as if it was a routine jumper.
Yep.
Where he just stops and pops from like 38, and you're like, you got to be kidding me, man. That was great. Good stuff all the way. No, congratulations to Golden State. I mean, on the balls of their ass, looked like it was over, right? They lose Kevin Durant and the injuries. Klay Thompson out for like a couple of years.
Yep.
Draymond Green, you're thinking, how long can this guy hang on playing like that? Steph Curry's still at the very top of his game, even though, playing with losing teams can really wear a guy like that out, right? Can take years off of his career, can it not? When you're trying to just absolutely carry a losing team, not easy to do. And he's had his share of ups and downs with injuries also. So, holy Dwayne Wade, man. Nice job there by Steph Curry and the boys. All right, the Gambling Gourmet, the birthday boy, going to join us here in just a couple of seconds.
Boy.
Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. we're going to take, you know what? We owe Mayo a trip down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill for his birthday. And obviously, we're going to, kind of pay off that thing subsequent to his birthday, which is today. It's not happening today. I'm hoping he comes out to the track and punches away from
That'd be nice.
And maybe I'll go out of my way to get him that Cuban sandwich for his birthday. What do you think? Would that be a nice gesture?
It
Although
would
I
be
want to hustle to get out there.
You won't do it.
Yeah. I ain't going to promise him shit.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
you've already let him down.
I'm the least likely to deliver on a promise. I mean,
I'm
everybody
aware.
that knows me knows that. Yeah.
I'm very much aware.
Yeah.
12 years.
Anyway, we have to take him down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104 on the Overseas Highway in Key Largo. It's a dynamite place, and I want to see Mayo's face. I don't know. He won't be able to resist chomping right into that Italian fisherman pizza. Like, it'll come to the table there, and everybody's kind of letting it sit because you don't want to be the first guy to go, oh, okay, I'll take a slice. Mayo will be that guy, man. I just immediately, he may even bite into the side of it before he even takes a slice out individually. Because it's not good. It's not tempting. Unbelievable. And that's just one of a zillion things they have there that are so creative. It's absolutely fantastic. So anyway, and that's good news, too. On our Believe podcast, Ian Eagle going to be there? Let's invite Ian down there to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. He works very hard. Needs a place to chill out. Mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway. Great food and drink. Great atmosphere. Great vibe. Of course, Dominic and Jemmy running the show in the kitchen there. Our friend CJ Spiller. Does a terrific job with all of their pizzas and everything else. And Mahi fresh as a daisy. Jimmy's there hanging out from time to time. And you can catch Larry Calvano, the owner of the place, playing in a band. It's that kind of place. Beautiful grounds, absolutely scintillating. Everything that goes on there. It's really, really amazing. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, Overseas Highway in Key Largo. All right, the Gambling Gourmet coming up. And then later on today, you'll want to tune in our Believe podcast. Ian Eagle going to join us. That's absolutely incredible. So, we're looking forward to both of those conversations coming up in a moment here on the Defo Show on South Florida Live. Now that. It's 8:41. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine foods served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
All right, we have the Gambling Gourmet with us, Mike Mayo.
Well, yeah, and you know me, when it comes to like pro football, I usually like to sometimes handicap games on which is the better food city. Where would I rather eat in? My mom, God bless her, 88 years old. She follows some football and do a family pool with picks, and usually her is based on which city she would rather visit. But college football, for me, it used to be, I always thought that the quality of the football team was in inverse proportion to the amount of teeth in the crowd. So, like,
grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Yeah, man. Another milestone passed here and accomplished as he leapfrogs yet another age hurdle. Mike Mayo, it's his birthday, and you are 56 years old today, Mike Mayo. Welcome to the show, the Gambling Gourmet. Mike Mayo joins us here on the Defo Show. How are you, my friend? And happy birthday to you in all sincerity.
Thank you so much, Defo and Lubie. I didn't get a happy birthday out of the professor. I'm starting to get a complex. Does he?
I don't know if he realized
it
was your birthday.
He's in his own world.
Yeah,
he's in his own world. You
zone,
mentioned, you said we got to get to the Gambling Gourmet. It's his birthday. I got nothing. I'm starting to get you know me. I get all.
You get verklempt. Yes, you do. You're rascal.
He gets into character. He does like his own thing when he does the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, when he gets into that whole,
it's like a whole
zone.
He's in a mindset that even Rod Serling never was able to approach.
Anyway, I'm nursing a sore throat. I mean, it's like 3 days. This thing. It's not COVID.
You're always sick. I worry about you.
I know. No, I'm a sick.
Yeah.
I put the sick and sick degenerate. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah, but legitimately sick. I mean, SICK is in unhealthy, and that's not a good sign.
Can you imagine with the way that I live my life? It was funny because I met a friend of mine who's longtime high school buddy, and he bought a house here, and he's heading back to New York for the summer. But he took me out to dinner at Cafe Seville. Our friend Joey, beautiful. We saw us. Yeah. Beautiful. But early in the week, his wife was out of town on business, and he said, "Oh, you know, his wife was embarking on this new wellness, basically a wellness campaign." And I said, "That's funny because I've just been embarking on an unwellness campaign."
Yeah, I mean, you'll come around. I mean, eventually you have to decide. Look, do I want to? I mean, it's good you can get away with it now, but I'm telling you, there's an inverse proportion in terms of each year that you pile on. I believe the Mendoza line for men has changed from 50 to 60.
Okay.
I believe that to be true because, and maybe even a little after that, like the Mendoza line for men should be somewhere around 63. This was established by no less of an esteemed scholar than the polyman Paul Massell. And, it's when things really start to fall apart. Like where, every time you go to the doctor, he gives you a look like, how much sugar are you intaking every day, Mr. Mayo?
I think, tell that to my urologist and cardiologist because they might think my Mendoza line is right about 55 right now.
Well, I mean, and you don't want to compromise the Mendoza line there. You want to try and at least hit 200 every year. I mean, if you could do that. See, now I have another, I mean, this is a giant number, almost inconceivable.
Just the fact that I have
I'm going to hit 71. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that
you even know how to say it. Yeah.
And a cardiologist. And I didn't have these things 5 years ago. So it's like...
He had a rabbi, and that was it. And a bookmaker.
Life used to be so simple when I was a young and spry sports writer. I first came down here to Florida when I was 23 years old.
You looked good.
And back then, I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have an ex-wife. I didn't have a kid. And, now I have 2 different lawyers, 5 different doctors. I've got an ex-wife.
Well, you've complicated your life to a level that even I haven't, come close to. Although I'm looking forward. And we want to wish you also a happy Father's Day coming up on Sunday.
Happy Father's Day, everyone out there.
Also known as Juneteenth this year. I didn't know
Juneteenth as well.
Juneteenth will happen. And I don't know. I was asking, since me and you and Lubie were all the Jewish persuasion, do we get to celebrate since we were released from bondage by the, from the Egyptians thousands of years ago? Is this does it apply to everybody who used to be enslaved, or
ask Phil Mickelson? That would be the question to ask.
Speaking of,
what did you make of this? I mean, I was watching the tournament. I am watching it right now, even with great interest. They have a bunch of guys that I never heard of that are sort of dominating the leaderboard, although there are some popular names on there like McIlroy and Dustin Johnson. And my man Victor Hovland has rebounded from what seemed like a shaky start to be 2 under now on that's through 4 in today's round. Who is this guy, Defo? And did you expect there to be more fire about this thing, Mike Mayo, as the tournament was being introduced by various media sources was on 3 different channels, and they kind of this is appropriate. I just had a Fluff Cowan sighting. He's caddying for Jim Furyk.
Right.
Okay. And, he's famous, of course, because he was Tiger's
Used to
original
be
caddy.
Tigers, yeah.
And then Tiger didn't like the fact that he was becoming a big star, so he got rid of him and brought that evil Steve Williams on board, who, would stop at nothing. I'm surprised Williams didn't carry a concealed weapon to ward off possible hecklers and, people that could break Tiger's immense concentration.
He might have been carrying, and then he went to Joe.
What did you think? What did you think about all of this?
Wait. Then Tiger went to Joe LaCava, right? Was Joe LaCava on?
That was his buddy or something? Yeah.
Well, no. Joe LaCava, a long time ago, he was Freddie Couples' caddy and big time Rangers fan, and that's how I.
If he hung with Freddie Couples, he had to be a cool guy.
Yeah, I mean, so that was back in the days when I was covering the tour. Now I used to cover the U.S. Open every year. Yeah. And it was virtually always.
Have you been in this course, Brookline?
Yeah. So the Brookline, the country club.
Was Sarney a member? Was our original question.
Might be. Some of the Sarneys might be members. So, it's one of those old blue blood clubs that was where Francis we met first put golf on the map for the 1%. No, you know what? I covered out there was a Ryder Cup, and it's actually a semi-tragic. It was like the day of the most incredible comeback in the singles matches on the final day. And I still have that image of Payne Stewart on the roof with the whole American team spraying these huge, big bottled magnums of champagne. And then I think it was just like 2 months later where Payne Stewart was dead and tragic.
That was a wild,
freakish
story.
Jet. Just the Phantom jet that lost whatever. It was horrible. So I have like weird bad images of flashbacks to
CO2, my friend. I think they were getting carbon monoxide or something.
That's a bad way to go.
Inside the plane.
But as far as this week, first of all, it's no surprise that Phil Mickelson shot 78 and blew up in the opening round because he heard that they weren't being paid this week in the Saudi Rials, which is the denomination. So he just immediately
he wanted no part of the weekend. Yeah,
and in researching the fact that the Saudi currency is the rial. Do you know what the denomination smaller is? Like the penny to the dollar in Saudi Arabia is the increments. Beneath it is called a halala. So
halala, what is that? Like on a falafel? What is that?
It's like a penny. And now, can you
is
guess
that worth anything?
Well, can you guess how many halalas to the rial there are?
I have no idea. No, I couldn't figure out the euros until I left. I just knew I was getting screwed every time.
Lubie got it right. I was going to figure 72, like 72 versions but no, it's 100 halalas to the real, just like anything else. But it's like a penny.
So it's a buck.
All right, now that I've ground the proceedings to a halt,
and
we're talking about reals, and I love fun, useless facts.
Arabic money, that's great.
These things. Phil Mickelson knows these things now, and what do you think? Everybody's ragging on him for his look, but I don't know. I think he looks.
No, he looks better. I think. Too clean cut. He looked like he was, on the Andy from Mayberry show.
Although Sally Jenkins, the great, she's daughter of the great Dan Jenkins, and Sally Jenkins now writes a sports column for the Washington Post, and she did this utter evisceration of Phil and the rest of the, I guess, renegades who've jumped ship to the Live Tour.
DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, Kevin Na.
She wrote
Patrick
this thing,
Reed.
just skewering, because they're going around with this claptrap about how, this is going to be good for the game of golf.
Sure,
golf
it's
is
going to grow
a
the game.
positive force in the universe. And she just wailed on, all the great innovations that golf has brought to the universe, like the 19th hole and Sansabelt pants. And but her opening line was that when he was dodging all these questions from at his press conference, that his that basically his words, he basically looked like his words and expression looked like a fugitive from his face, and it's just that.
That's Richard Kimball, man.
That's just a great line, and props to Sally Jenkins, and she is her father's daughter, because Dan Jenkins could spring a couple of lines like that. Also,
that was very illustrative, and it seemed appropriate. It really did describe what was going on. His Q rating was lower than Vladimir Putin's on the last check of Madison Avenue desirables for any kind of endorsement. And it was really weird seeing Phil without any advertising logos on any of his apparel, including the hat now, just has like a stick figure on it. And but look, I mean, who are we to judge? I guess I don't know. I mean,
no, well, look, there's all kinds of hypocrisy and things in the
Yeah.
world, but like
Yeah,
there's one thing when things are in the national interest, and yeah, we need oil for our economy, and at some point there was only a certain number of people who could provide it, and sometimes you got to make deals with the devil. And yes, the world is a complex place, but when something is brought to you and you have a choice and you
Yeah.
have a moral compass, your moral compass should be pointing in the direction of ethics and goodness and justice, and you could say no to the money. Like
they're not paying these enormous amounts of money just to lure a few people away to play their tour. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's,
that's ridiculous. Yeah.
It's sports washing. It's the
Yes.
reputation washing, and you could just say no, especially
Here's
if
Phil. He
you already
embraces our
made
policies.
like hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry if you've squandered tens of millions of them on gambling.
That
and,
I respect. Yeah.
And so anyway, that's where we're at. And but you know what? The PGA Tour is in a real pickle now. This is the major events are run by separate entities, so you're going to see everybody coming together, including players who are now
maybe
banned.
not the PGA tournament. Isn't that a PGA event?
No,
or is
PGA
that
Championship.
USGA? Yeah.
No, PGA Championship, which already took place, is run by the PGA of America, which is a different entity from the PGA Tour. Gets very confusing.
It's like the World Boxing Council.
Oh yeah,
is involved.
The PGA Tour, they don't have their own major, but they try to make the Players Championship into what they call the fifth major. But no, PGA Championship is PGA of America, which is like all the Club Pros organization. Then there's the USGA for the US Open, the Royal and Ancient of St. Andrews for the British Open, and of course the Lords of Augusta National Golf Club for the Masters. So you'll see everybody come together for those events because those other entities are not going to go about banning the players who go with the Saudis. I don't think they will, unless there's massive public pressure, but I don't think there will be. But the PGA Tour is in a pickle because they're going to lose a lot of their younger up and coming players. Not a lot, but some of them. And then what do you do? I mean, you're going to ban them for life, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, obviously, if you have any kind of moral fiber to you, and you're an American, you're thinking these are people who financed the 9/11 attack, so to embrace them and allow them to use your name, image, and likeness to promote the idea that that they're doing nothing wrong, and all is fine and hunky dory there in Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's a matter of conscience, but if you don't have one, then it's fine. I mean,
that's
you can't really complain.
The world is it's a complex place. I was just reading this morning.
I mean, it was Ty Cobb, the greatest guy, or whatever. No, everybody thought he was an asshole.
Beyond that, look at American corporations now who are still funding Republican candidates who go along with the whole, insurrection and the big lie. And it's interesting. Where do you draw the line? Domestic, foreign, those who support foreign,
you're a schmink if you had the money and you took the money, but
that's the thing. Is if you're one of the top people when you're making money, I mean,
this is too complicated and deep for my birthday. Can I just say congratulations to the?
Where are you going for your birthday?
Wait.
You're going to Shenanigans.
I got to give props to Dick Steen, my guy. And
you lost.
No, remember, I lost. I've lost every series bet. Thank God for.
I want to book all of your action, Mike Mayo.
Because
it's great.
No, come on. I won on the Preakness and I won 2 big poker tournaments this week. So, but the Celtics again. My man,
sports wagering is
sports wagering. That's why I don't usually bet sports, but he won his $100 on. He had it exactly right. He said Warriors in 6.
Wow.
Celtics
So did Lubie.
in 7.
What I said.
And I tried to text him his $100. Does that count? Like instead of sending by Zelle or Venmo, I took a picture.
Yeah. That means you're not paying. Yeah.
I took a picture of a $100 bill and texted it to him last night. And actually, I got
how you've paid off our debt, although you've offered very generously.
Hey, Mr. Cuban Sandwich, I've got some sneakers for you, guy. At least I've gotten.
No, you're coming out today to the
from
track.
my new
you're
co-host.
going to be just shoveling drinks in your face.
Necky Mohan gets me shakes and sashes, and I'm still
well,
waiting for my
Cubano
sandwich and my sneakers that supposedly.
I'm going to get you a Cuban sandwich today for your birthday if you're coming to the track.
No, actually, I've got a full eating agenda today. I'm doing the Lunchbox show remotely from our friend Pat's at Shenanigans.
Oh,
and
nice.
I got to put in a quick plug. Pat is having a big annual fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. at Shenanigans East Side, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. A $30 donation gets you a full breakfast spread with some mimosas. And again, so very worthy cause. So go out to Shenanigans tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the Alzheimer's fundraiser. And then today I'll be there celebrating my birthday for the Lunchbox Live. I'm going to do a live remote show solo.
Beautiful.
Won't need Lubie. Just send me the passes. Lubie. Wow. And I'm going to have a little chicken wing and a beer. And then after that, I'm meeting somebody up at Fat Boy's Barbecue. I'm having the ultimate blowout. And I might be,
fat
somewhere.
Would be the key word there.
I might. Yeah. But I might be laid
Shannon.
up in a hospital bed near you by the time that Father's Day weekend ends.
I'm going to be fine, man. I want to do
Tropical Acres tonight. Yeah. And maybe I'll squeeze in a couple of races there with you at the old.
You should come on out there.
The old Parimutuel facility.
You obviously
we got to go. It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right.
Got to run.
Thanks,
yeah.
guys.
No, we got to get out of here. Mike Mayo, happy birthday, Mike Mayo. The
we love you.
Gourmet,
Happy
ladies and
birthday,
gentlemen.
man.
Thanks,
You
guys.
want
I'll
to book
see you
his
at noon.
action?
Yep.
Yeah, he's 0 for 2 sports wagering during the postseason there. Panthers
horrendous.
missed that completely, a swing and a miss. Celtics, I mean, did they not fall apart at the seams there? I mean, they look like one of those old Japanese baseballs you used to get with the sawdust inside where you hit it one time and it would bust open. And it was like, surprise! Like an exploding golf ball. We have to run. Iron Eagle's going to be on our Believe podcast today, so that's going to be great. We love Iron Eagle. He's a fascinating character and a very entertaining gentleman. And, wow, I mean, you talk about accomplished. And then his son, Noah Eagle, is just nailing it on every possible platform that he's on, including the tennis channel, where he was doing like French Open stuff and things like that. So very talented family, and Iron Eagle is going to join us on the podcast. We'll see you on Monday with the Defo Show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you later on Believe, BLEAV Podcast Network, and you can check us out if you want to see. We archived the show on South Florida Live, Lubie. Can anybody punch
everything we do. There's the Defo Show with Lubie playlist. There's a Mike Mayo's Lunchbox playlist. The Greek will be making his second foray today. He has his own playlist. He was 2-0 on Monday with his picks. He's going to do a little bit of maybe some baseball over the weekend, and he'll talk about the series. So, yes, we have whatever you see here live, you can see later, and you can also check it out on the South Florida Live Facebook as well.
All right, thanks for making our first week a lot of fun on our debut run here, South Florida Live. The new version of the Defo Show, same old show, but the new version. Jeff DeForest for Mike Lubie Lubitz. Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy birthday, Mike Mayo. Happy Father's Day. Thanks, Professor, for joining us here on the show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and all your nice comments there on the chat line. Until next time, we'll say have a great weekend as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:01.
Let's go to eat a damn snack. Look what they done to my soul.